Today we're going to have a look at how different liquids can have different densities, and we can actually build up something called a density column. You'll all be very aware that when you have vegetable oil and water, they form layers based on the fact that water is much more dense than the oil layer. So you can see the oil sitting on top of the water. And even if I shake these up, they quickly go back to being two separate layers. So we're going to build up a density column using a whole variety of liquids here. We've got some glycerol, oil, just food oil, some methylated spirits that we've dyed blue to make it more obvious, some detergent, which is a green colour. We've also got some water. Because water and glycerol are very similar in colour, I'm actually going to pop a little bit of food colouring into the water to make it red so that we can see which is our water layer. Now I'm going to try to layer up these liquids in the order I think will be most dense. I'm going to start off with the glycerol. I'm going to build up my column in this boiling tube here. I'm going to pour in the glycerol. It dribbles down the side. It's quite a viscous, a thick liquid. I'm going to pop water in next, very gently down the side. That's why I've got the boiling tube at an angle. And you can already see that we've got a clear barrier between the clear line between the much denser glycerol at the bottom and then the water on the top. Let's see where the detergent comes. Now, if it is more dense than water, it will go below the water layer, and if it is less dense than water, it will sit on top. So let's have a look what's happening. Actually see that the detergent wants to be below the water layer but above the glycerol. Let's try and see where the meths wants to sit. Now the meths is sitting above the water layer, so the meths is less dense than the water. And then we have the last liquid is the oil. So the oil is above the water layer and below the meths. There's a little bit of mixing of the meths layer with the water. Meths does dissolve in water a little bit, but the oil has come in here. So when we look at our density column, we have got glycerol at the bottom, and we've got our liquid detergent. A little bit of mixing with the water. We've got a water layer here, then we have an oil layer, and then we have a methylated spirits layer. And this is called a density column, so it's more dense at the bottom and less dense at the top. Now we can add things to this. We can add solids. So here is a rubber cork, so we can pop that in and it will float at the density which matches its own. So let's have a look what happens when we put this in. Whoa. Okay, looks like rubber is denser than meths and oil and water. It's probably just denser than the glycerol. Okay, let's try a cork rather than a rubber stopper. Put that in at the top. The cork is less dense than all of it. Okay, it'd be interesting to see if we could find something which floated somewhere in the middle.